Life can feel like a game, especially when depression and different personalities become a way to survive. For those who call themselves educated, here's the challenge. If you have ever had a loved one with mental illness, ask yourself this: why has justice never been served in situations like this? Put on your investigation hat, look at the story, connect the pieces, follow the clues. But this isn't only about justice, it's about you. Notice where you feel triggered. Notice what parts of this mirror your own life, because this game, personal development, hidden in plain sight, the clues are everywhere. The question is, will you see them? Every human, if you were to really be honest with, if they were to be honest with themselves, would have an addiction to something, of course. What level they have of an addiction, well, is it a healthy one, a positive one, an outlet, or not, would relate to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Lose something in that, and that would change a lot. So I'm like a mess right now. Just woke up, didn't wash my face, didn't do anything, just got on the scale. Because I'm like, oh, because that's an issue for me, is my appearance, like my self-worth attached to appearance. So when I talk a lot about addiction or different things and understanding the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, losing that set me back a lot of ways in my childhood, the extreme obsession with that, my link of the self-worth, which I had to understand. But there's this line and difference. So when I talk about an eating disorder, the distorted eating is for me around the idea of if I overeat something or if I have something, then I'm really, quote, and then labeling it bad. So this is the interesting thing, because in a world of culture, diets, etc., body image, that's also can be very misunderstood. So for myself, even growing up, like I had raised, two girls, and I never spoke, and at that time period in my life, after like that, when I was believed to be happy and healthy and all that, and like I myself made sure that I never would project out any of my own issues onto them. However, ironically, that's a time for myself. I was set on focusing on them, that my the things that I had once before. So I had struggled with always really issues around my weight, my appearance, obsession about the food, the diet, the things, what to have. That went away. I just naturally became more healthy and attentive to other things. When the focus went back to myself after loss, after my life changed and circumstances, that's where it took my brain. And that's what I would want people to understand: where are you at in time? Because in a way, we're always in a loop, in a learning, but we don't really realize it, and where our cravings for anything could come from. So I don't shame anyone that has, because I want people to understand the core. I've never touched an illegal substance in my life. However, and I've never had an issue with alcohol or anything, but the base of the psychology of the cravings is the same. Even a workaholic would be the same if that's your distraction. Lose your ability to go to that job to do your work for the distraction, and things would change. Because that's where I had to realize, even in my psyche, with my extreme circumstances, with the survival things I went through, one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. That's actually why I had like longer periods of being okay, depending on where I went, into massive crashes. So that's where I say educating the educated. Like I had to understand these things for myself. Never have I made a claim that I'm any type of doctor. I've been the side of been abused. I've been, all the labels, all the things, and then chose and always have to do personal development, learn about myself and my circumstance, make myself my own guinea pig, and then in relation to other things. I also understand that no matter what, the things I say, I can't teach anyone anything. I can only make them think, and my opinions are mine. So that's a whole other thing. What is fact, I can share. But even then, because there's only, at the end of the day, even in the whole world, in the whole universe, there's only one truth of anything, and then everybody else is creation and illusions in another way. And I do understand that as a base. And I say that because the difference too of how we see our bodies or feel, like, so the last 2 days I've been stressed, overeating. I got on the scale, and you gain a lot of weight. Well, there's the pain of the act. So these are the real things. So in my life too, extreme, and they went up and down, like in and out of the hospital for different conditions, a lot of autoimmune issues, etc. I had to realize, though, come from a past, I have a lot of sexual traumas. I'm a victim of sexual assaults, abuse, etc. That holds in the body. And that's one thing that, without talking about it or knowing or understanding how much pain that is caused. So that's my diagnosis of fibromyalgia. Well, when you eat certain things, so that's a very real thing, that will have effects on your body too. But at different times that can change as well. So also, though, people that try to educate that haven't been on the side of abuse and I noticed this in the nutrition field, my background, although I studied nutrition, although I was a professional fitness model, I don't consider myself an expertise at all in that area. However, I still have a lot of knowledge on it, and the difference of being on both sides of it and then talking to a lot of people too that have been on the side of they prescribe nutrition to people or they help people with diets or whatever. If they haven't been on the side of actually being abused or understanding even the impact that they would have on their clients with the other perspective, it's not just hormones, it's not just the autoimmune, it's not just, because the thoughts have effects on those things, and the energy held from a person's life will have a different effect too. And that's actually what I would try to get, because there's so many people, this goes back again to this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If they didn't have the blessing of the circumstances to be in the consistency, if their life, somebody came into their life, and this is what, like, because I'm protesting for rights or different things as well that I haven't had, but I have a voice in other areas. So that's why I use it. It's so important to know what you were given, and appreciate it, and then do something. And that's a way of paying it forward. But that can, like, that for myself, exhausted me, killed me. I used to be around hundreds of people in real life a day to not being able to be around people at all, because I'm trying to restore my energy. Because as an abused person and also as a natural people pleaser, there's a confusion in that, because I want to always give my best self. But then when are you healing? But then you're giving yourself away constantly. And if that's something in relation to, that can be your image, which is then the low self-worth, that's an issue. But when is it just, hey, I want to live it? So I'm in, like, from eating what I ate, so the last 2 days, but I let go, and it's like, oh, so I'm feeling it. So it would be like if I were, say, an alcoholic, and then you go on a binge and then you're hungover. Well, that's kind of what it is from the food, but it's just overeating. So I don't purge. I'm not anorexic. If I that's my issue, has been overeating. Okay, well, how much can you go before then it becomes a problem? Okay, but this is the thing with diets and the mentality around diets. And for myself too, in healing, that a diet that's not, you have to, like, for discipline, here, you got to go right back on and follow those things to work, what works in your body, and you have to build up a base to live. There's a mix of that. But when you're unwell, you need to understand that. That's the first thing. So I acknowledge and still understand I'm unwell. So I document these things. That's why how I help and how I see help is as best I can with sharing the story, empowerment, and that's what I believe. But that's also why in my illness, it's like I can't be a fraud in coaching or taking money in any position if I'm not in a way that I'm okay. And too many people unfortunately do that, and they make a lot of people ill, and they don't acknowledge that. So that's not something I would ever do. So that's been the process of kind of where somebody's at in those different things. And you know, my intentions behind everything, it helps myself, because then I get an understanding, and then I analyze myself. And that's how I grow as a person, but that's how I would, and then that's part of the, like, what I would teach people too, and in those things, look at yourself, analyze yourself. So many people are always judging and analyzing the world, not understanding how you judge the world is a reflection on you. What you notice in the world is a reflection on you. What you pay attention to is a reflection on you. It has everything to do with you, nothing to do with them. But we live in a world with each other. Okay, well, now how do I interact with other people that it's safe or comfortable for me? And that's the relation to ourselves. And why am I choosing the wrong people or not without recognizing it? And that's the process that I'm on right now too. So it's this, you lived a little, it's okay, just go back. Like, that's, did you enjoy yourself? Yeah. Did you have was it a bit, you feel okay, because my weight, because that's the thing. You have something, there's going to be a consequence. What's the consequence? Well, now the consequence is pain, the weight gain, the things. Okay, you gained a couple pounds. So that's the whole point. So the process of if it's just the diet mentality, that won't work. If it's just not living, because I'm a prisoner to my body. In many other ways, I have health conditions that keep me restricted. but my psychological. I'm aware of how great I am at creating illusions because of how ill I am. I am not a person who is well faking being ill. I'm a person who is very ill, who can fake being well. And that has, when I got my memories back and then I started working through this, so it's been now 5.5 years, I understand that more than ever. I understand that was a skill that I adapted as a child, and that's the misunderstandings of the diagnosis, because that was my survival instinct. That's why I have different personalities and I'm a chameleon, because I adapt to other people's personalities around me for safety. And that's been my coping mechanism, and that's why I'm such a good performer. And that's why I'm so angry at anyone with a certification at this present time, because of the damage they did to my life. That's a real statement, and they haven't fixed it yet. However, I'm also not a person, and that would be the same, like with circumstances. I would say, because if all men put all women in one category, that would be extremely unfair, because I'm not like those women, right? I know how the morals, principles, and integrity I have. And if somebody were to say all men, I wouldn't do all the same. So I'm not going to say all doctors are the same, but I am going to say in present time, not a doctor has taken responsibility yet for what they did, the damage they did to ruin my life. So that's a real statement for those that claim to be educated in the mental health field, that they need to do some further investigation, because I don't do these things just for myself. And the injustice right now with those pieces of paper that people claim to have, and the damage they do with it until they're re-educated, should not feel confident or educated, because they're causing more damage than they're creating. However, I have a faith component, and if I didn't have that faith component, I'd already be dead.